welcome to the Shine Show. I'm your host, Christina Fulton, every Friday here at Launch TV. I'm so glad you're here because we interview the most incredible people in the world that are changing the world today. From top CEOs, entrepreneurs, inventors, influencers, entertainment actors, masterminds of the world, all right here at Shine. Yes. We asked really great questions like, why do you need to know them? How did they do it? And what are they working on next? You guys, it's real, it's brilliant, all in the world of doing good. As we say here at the show, if you can't be the sun, maybe you're a star. Woo! Okay, so I wanted to give a big shout out to my sponsors. Thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you to Francis Ford Coppola. You're always there for me. Thank you so much for supporting me at my pop-up and here at the show with the Francis Ford Coppola wine. And if you don't know who that is, he's a very big director and directed many, many films that you probably know. But he has a lovely vineyard up in Napa Valley and just excellent, excellent wine. So thank you, Francis. Woo! And for the ladies, I wanted to thank Queen V. Queen V is on the cutting edge of women's products, and girls, we need that. It's all natural, and she's in like CVS, Rite Aid. She's an entrepreneur, and I just want to thank you very much because you've always been there for me, so thank you. Woo! I want to thank my team here at Launch TV. I can't do it alone, and I love you guys. You're awesome, and great work. So guess what, guys? It's Friday. It's Friday, shake it off. It's Friday, I'm so excited. Hit it, DJ. Hit it, DJ. Woo, I love it when it's Friday. So whatever you're doing out there, you're working, just take a few minutes to breathe, let it go. It's all gonna work out. Whether you're at work, you're in your car. I always say this every show, but it's kind of a great reminder about just, enjoy yourself, through your work day. And that kind of brings me to a subject that I'll pick up later called Pep Talk. That'll come in a minute. But we have two incredible guests in the house, and I just cannot tell you enough. They have one of the top podcasts in America called Two Guys from Hollywood. Woo! Okay. So Joey Santos, my good friend, is a celebrity chef. He's a writer. He's actually an amazing singer, and he has a podcast. He's in the house along with Alan Nevins, who is you guys, this is a super agent. He has a agency called Renaissance Literary and Talent Management. He's managed and put talent on this screen that you've watched from Cameron Diaz, J-Lo, Joan Collins, and Cher. These two titans are in the house, and we are so blessed. I can't wait. Woo! Dynamic duo is here on Shine. But before we get going with them in the house, I wanted to always make sure in the show that I was talking to you. I've been saying in the other episodes, just like a pep talk. Pep talk! It's nice to have a pep talk. I thought about an app. Wouldn't that be cool if you had an app that you could wake up and you could tell them your problems or your issues, or maybe you don't have a problem, but just having that sort of crowded community pep you up and get you excited for your day. I would love that. So until then, I want to talk to you about kindness, because lately, and I know we're going through a lot, and I know we went through a pandemic, and we're still going through a pandemic, and people stressed out, but you can't forget kindness. And it doesn't cost anything. My CO said, it doesn't cost anything, but it really doesn't. And make sure that when you're calling up people for business or calling even simple things like your phone carrier, DirecTV, that you don't just go for the jugular. that you ask them, like, how are you? You know, and wait for them to tell you how you are before you go and ask them for what you want. And I've noticed in the past, like, months, I've seen just seriously people that are really rude or short-tempered or, you know, not using kindness. And I just kind of wanted to get back to kindness. And, you know, it doesn't cost much, you know. She said she feels me. That's Crystal, she's on the set. And, you know, it's true. Like, you know, take time to, you know, check in with people and have that awareness and kind of raise your vibration and frequency by being kind. Probably save you some money. I got a discount at Verizon, $100, Crystal. So anyway, I'm just saying, I know, let's pep talk. Woo. Okay, they don't dish, they serve. Joey Santos and Alan Nevins are in the house to talk to us about their hit podcast and how did they do it. So we'll be back in a minute with the dynamic duo. Woo!
Rather than trying to live in the past, let's just make the future better for those people that want to have something to share, something to show, and let's support it, and let's all work together to make a better product.
Welcome back here to Shine on Launch TV. And as I told you in true Hollywood style, I have the two guys from Hollywood here, Joey Santos and Alan Nevins. Hello, guys.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, so how does it feel to have a hit show, a podcast show?
We've been so busy, I don't even think it's registered yet. We're just trying to make it work. You know, it's a different medium that we're used to.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a numbers game, it's a likes, it's a followers, it's a whole thing that we're learning, you know, by the seat of our pants. But we're finding interesting content, and I think that's the part that's exciting for us. So we're not limiting to gossip, or we avoid that. Even our tagline is, we don't dish, we serve.
Love.
Because we want to invite people that have something to say, so they actually join our conversation, and then we just roll with it. And we let them talk about whatever they want to talk about, and then, you know, if it comes out, they brought
Make
it.
them talk about what we want to talk about.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say that.
Well, I mean, and you both are true, you know, fabrics of America. I mean, what you've done in your life, both of you equally, so powerful. Thank you for all the work that you guys do
Thank you.
in the world. I
It's
mean,
been interesting. You know,
you're really interesting.
am I?
So you need to know him. I mean, wow. So, and you didn't waste a minute, like at the 5-year thing, you took over.
Well, he passed away, actually. I was really thrust into it. You know, his wife was ill and she died first, and then he was right behind her, and suddenly I was really thrust in. All these clients were left behind, all these superstars. And, you know, they stayed, to my surprise. I think one left, one.
Wow.
So suddenly I had his whole stable of clients, and I was left with, you know, people like Lauren Bacall and Joan Collins at the height of Dynasty, and
Faye Dunaway.
and
Wow.
all of these people that were
Real movie stars.
Real movie stars, thank you. And that's such a big subject right now, is like the real star. No offense to influencers or anything. It's just that the real star has kind of gone in Hollywood now.
Yeah, it's gone because we don't recognize it. You know, it's Andy Warhol said it best when he said everybody's going to have their 15 minutes. And that's exactly the world we live in. Everybody has got something for 15 minutes. And it could be anything. But it's just, that's just where we're at. So rather than trying to live in the past, let's just make the future better for those people that want to have something to share, something to show. Right. and let's support it, and let's all work together to make a better product.
I love that. Woo! Yes, I love that. And I mean, and another thing too, just because, you know, my family's in the business, your family's in the business, you've been around, like that's your family, that, you know, it's good to help people to know what it was and to pay attention and research and watch the old
there's
movies.
no training.
Right? I mean, people, we see it all the time. They become famous. They become unbelievably rich and famous. They were not given training. No. And so, you know, they're not quite sure what to do. They go off and do their thing, and everybody else without training follows that. But it's awkward later, and it doesn't give you a role model. It just is like, oh, I'll be rich and famous.
Yeah, and it doesn't give you preparation for the opportunity that you're given. Because anybody that knows, especially somebody like me who grew up in the business since I was a kid, my dad was a well-known actor and director, my grandfather was a very famous performer, you know, for 60 years, you know. My mother was a showgirl. Yes, she was.
That's where
And
you
my
got
grandmother
it.
owned a film studio and a record company and many nightclubs and restaurants. And so I grew up all around that. But the one thing that I grew up with, the most important thing, is for preparation, and that you always have to pay it forward. You can never, ever write on your sunglasses. You've got to be present, and you've got to constantly study, constantly hone your craft. You can never just take it for granted, because as quick as it comes, and sometimes it takes 40 years to get it, or 20 years, or 10 years, or 10 minutes. But as quickly as it comes, it will go even quicker. So that preparation has to be, and you have to know when your time's up. You know, there's a clock within us that we have to kind of pay attention to rather than this one. And when we look in the mirror and we look beyond what's in front of us, we have to say, am I done here? And move on to something else. It's constantly evolving. And passion doesn't have one phase. So we have to be aware of that. And so, because there's nothing worse than becoming the mockery of what you've created. So it's really important to see yourself for who you are.
And, you know, well, Joey, I mean, that goes to this subject, which is you've been a top celebrity chef for a very long time, and that preparation. And take us back, because you have worked with Brad Pitt. Your list is as long as Los Angeles.
Well, you know, the great thing about that is, you know, I had to burn a lot of stuff to get it right, you know, and so I wasn't trained. You know, I did own a couple of restaurants, and that was just because that was a passion, and I had an idea, and I followed through with it, and I was able to create them. But as a chef, I really wasn't. And even I'm uncomfortable with that title, although I earned it, because I do know how to run a kitchen. I do know how to cook. I do know how to present. I do know how to store, you know, all the important things that we must learn along the way. So I was able to do that, but I'm still not comfortable with the title chef, because so many people are trained for that, and I respect them for that. Right. What I don't have of a chef is the ego, and I'm constantly wanting to do better and learn better. And then I was fortunate enough to have the clients I have because of my discretion, one, and because I do what I do, and I please them. I don't come there with an agenda of a menu, have this, this is what I do, and then they get offended when you don't like it. Right. It's like, you don't like it, I'll do it over.
No, you're saying something so great about, because, you know, we had chefs in our... We don't have it.
So we have to find it.
And kindness. We talked about that. We talked about that earlier. Kindness. That's everything right now. You said something really great, because you said that, you know, it is difficult to have someone in your home, you know, because our family had chefs too.
Yeah.
And to make, you know, you've filled the tummies of the most famous people in the world, you know, and made them happy, and the richest.
And that's the funniest, because they can afford anybody. What are they doing with me? And I'm not complaining.
Well,
I like cashing checks.
they love you.
Yeah, but you have good clients, because they trust your cooking. Where a lot of places you go in and, oh, we want this tonight, we want you to fix it this way. Why do you have a chef if you're going to tell them how to fix it?
Right, or some weird menu with like chicken claws or some weird soups.
Yeah, I'm not here to invent a new food group, that's for sure. But there are people that do, you know.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's great for them. It's just not what I do. I like good, clean, healthy food, and that my grandmother always said, you know, never put anything in your mouth you don't know how to spell. Ooh. You know, that's why she was married 5 times and they weren't Russian. But, you know.
What's your favorite cuisine? I know people ask you this a million times, but what's something that you just love cooking?
I like global cuisine. I love soul food, because it really comes from a real place. You know, and there are things in a world that we have to leave so much out. you know, where it's gluten-free and it's this and it's that. Occasionally, it's nice to be able to cook a meal, sit down to a meal that brings everything to the table. So those are the things that attract me. My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, because you don't have to save the receipt. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's all about sharing and giving and you know, being together, and everybody has a favorite. And so I think all those kind of things are what excites me about being around a table. And so I try and do that in every meal that I make, even if it's as simple as, you know, a sandwich, but I make it a great sandwich on great bread, on a beautiful plate, and, you know, do it the right way. None of this running out the door, you know.
You go to his house and get to eat all his fab.
All the time. Or he comes to mind. He's had 30 years to train in order to prepare my meals.
Yes.
Yeah, I get a lot of leftover foods.
Always packing stuff up.
He's always got
bringing
something.
it to Alan's.
I always know what he's done at the party because it ends up in my refrigerator.
Oh, I'm coming over. I'm coming over.
Anytime.
Alan, you are exceptional in what you've done, and thank you again for, you know, supporting such great icons in the world. And what drives you? What drives you?
All sorts of things. Well, you know, in the beginning, you sort of take on anything. You're worried about paying bills, and you're worried about, you know, your rent and whatnot. And as I hit this line, and I don't know what to call it, it's sort of this invisible success line. And once you sort of raised above it, suddenly I didn't have to go find the clients. The clients were finding me, and I realized I now get to pick and choose. And that has been kind of nice because I got rid of all the clients that were not very fun. Because, you know, they think it's all about them all the time, and you know, as if I don't have a life. And I'm like, well, you don't want it to be good for me too. So I got rid of the clients that were not fun, and we go out and we have a good time now with my new clients, and it's as fun for me as it is for them. You know, I'm as excited if they have a hit book as they are, because you know, I'm attached to that book in a way, or I'm attached to that movie. So I find it as exciting as they do. So the drive is to share that experience with a client that you admire, that you like, and to sort of go forward together, because a lot of times it's a new experience for them. It's not like they've written 20 books. A lot of times, most of the time, it's their first book. So it's a new experience for them, and you get to kind of take that ride together, and it can be a lot of fun.
That's really endearing to hear, because, you know, I'm on the other side where you don't really sit down with your agent or your literary agent and say, how do you feel about me? You know, really. So that's good that you're in the heart.
I might tell you.
Tell you the truth.
I have a few clients that, you know, everybody said, you know, you're getting ready to go on set, and said, oh, you look great, and they would turn and say, let's ask Alan, because he'll really tell you.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
But they like it, because you know, otherwise you're the yes man.
Well, no, you want some hair flying around.
Yeah, they don't want the yes, they want to know what's the problem and how do I fix it?
Well, we're going to come right back with more from these two amazing guys from Hollywood. I'm your host, Christina Fulton, and I've been sitting here. I'm so honored to be sitting with two titans in the world, two guys from Hollywood, Joey Santos and Alan Nevins. Hello again. We're back. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Thank you for your time, because your time is important.
We had nothing to do.
Oh, yes. So I have to, how did you guys come up with the name for the podcast?
We were kind of bouncing back and forth. I don't remember. I know. We went through a bunch of stuff, but then I got stuck with two guys from Italy for some reason. And we thought, well, we're not a pizza parlor. Do you know what I mean? But we spent so much time in Italy together traveling, and so we were the two guys from Italy, but we thought, well, we wanted to be about Hollywood. We grew up here. It's our, you know, legacy, you know, and it's our town. So, and not that everything is about Hollywood, because we broaden it. It's about entertainment. It's about books. It's about Hollywood. It's about all of that. So I thought that just kind of encompasses it all. And we've been friends for 35 years. So we were pals way back in the day, and we had some real Hollywood stories, which certain podcasts touch on those.
I love the name. I think it's great. When I mention
Kinda
it to
says it, who
people,
we are,
they
so.
laugh. When I tell them, oh, I'm in for you, they laugh.
Well, people do kind of interpret that it's all going to be about Hollywood, or why are you the two guys from Hollywood? But it was never intended for that. It was intended that we grew up here, we see the people who come here, we work with the people that are here. So it was really sort
And
of an
our friends
all-encompassing.
Yeah.
Great reviews, by the way. I was
you.
looking through
Thank
them
you.
today.
Thank you.
Great reviews. People are saying, watch the show.
Well, we try and keep it interesting. Like I said, we pull from Alan's world of, and the literary world, and those are always interesting guests to have because it gives us a broader thing. I'm friends, they call me the housewife whisperer. Because,
Are you kidding?
seriously, because some of the housewives happen to be really close friends of mine. Actually, a couple of them stood up for my partner and I at our wedding. Dolores Catania and Siggy Flicker, they stood up for us there, and I'm good friends with Ramona. We were just in New York, they were at my birthday party, and Dorinda. So all those girls, for some reason, are just my
We
pals.
love you, Joey.
So we have fun.
We love you.
Because I like people that tell it like it is.
Yeah.
I have no time for bullshit. But none of us do. After what we just came out of and what we're getting into, we have to come.
You guys reinvented yourself during a pandemic.
Yeah, well, we took it seriously.
It was a fluke, and then we took it seriously. I mean, he knows. I went kicking and screaming. There's marks in the driveway. I was like, no, from my heels. But
But you don't have to scare me twice. Do you know what I mean? I'm a rules guy. I've always been a rules guy. I wasn't that kid that didn't, that disobeyed my parents. If they told me something, I did it. And if they said, this is this, this is this, and I did it. I didn't see anybody, not even my best friend since childhood, and he lives around the corner. We just sequestered and we stayed that way until it was safe, or until we found a way around it where we were all like-minded, doing the same things, keeping the same practice, and being, following the protocols that we were instructed to.
We did everything.
But we did it.
Slow us down. We just did it properly and safely. And
Got in a car. We drove up to Washington. We were on a yacht for a week. We hid out. We did all those kind of things, and only us.
ballooning.
We went ballooning.
Water rafting. We did it all. We were
Yeah.
we're not going to let this.
Just the four of us. Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's fun.
And everybody said, well, don't you miss restaurants? I said, why would I miss a restaurant with Joey cooking?
Well, God, no.
I mean, please.
Most restaurants in town.
I
are
miss
good.
restaurants.
But you know what? I heard you brought me a dish
Well,
today.
I'm not a baker, mind you,
Well, I
but
think-
I
well-
did bake you something.
Oh, really?
So, and I hope it tastes better than it kind of
Oh,
looks.
I'm
'cause it
so
got a little bit- we were in the
excited.
canyon, so it kind of.
Is someone going to roll it in?
But it's
Thank you. Yes, it just flies in like this. Ooh.
Cheesecake.
I'm such a sweet
But
tooth.
There is, I made
Wow.
a
Can
cherry
you see
coulis,
this?
which goes with it. So it's a
Oh my
puree, but it's
God,
in there, I think.
Joey. Okay,
So
I
if
have
you
to
want to have
taste
it on the
it.
side,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it's really, really good. So I hope you like it.
Oh
And I
my
also
God.
made you a creme brulee. I didn't know what you liked, so I made creme brulee. And then for everybody here, I made homemade chocolate.
Do you love
covered
him?
Pretzels, peanut butter pretzels. I also made.
See, that's why everyone loves you.
corn. I know.
That's why the housewives are like, please come over
Yeah,
and
I'm-
take care of my
please, they
sweet
eat.
tooth. Do they eat? I eat.
dogs.
They don't eat.
Yeah,
I
they
eat so much sweets. Like I literally weekly, every Sunday, go with my girlfriend and we go to like Mellow Mellow, Be Sweet. I'm
Yeah,
I have
such
a little
a
bit of a sweet
Oh, you're
tooth
sweet.
myself.
massive sweet tooth. Thank you, the hidden ghost of the.
Well, enjoy it. Steph.
Thank
It's
you
my
so
pleasure to do it.
much.
Of course,
I
of
mean, again, you've filled the tummies of a lot of big people in the world,
course. Yeah.
So
well, I don't trust people that don't eat, don't laugh, don't love.
Right,
Definitely. So it's all hand in hand anyway.
tell me, how could someone break in to the business? Like, think about, we think that everybody knows this, but here people are all over the world coming to America, coming to Los Angeles. How do they start that break in? How do they get an agent? How do they create themselves, and come up with who they are?
Toughest question in the world. Everybody asks it. Well, mostly mine is about writing and books, so it's a little different. But first thing is, make sure you can write. Nothing worse than chasing a dream that you can't fulfill, right? But there's always storytelling. There's some writers out there, we all know them, I won't mention any, that can tell a great story, but they're not the greatest writers. And of course, those are big commercial books many times. So, there has to be some level of talent involved. So I think a lot of people would do better if they realize what is their talent and go after that, rather than, they're super talented here and they ignore that, and then they go try to do something over there. But you're talented here, do that. And I think that's the best thing is, sort of look in the mirror and realize who you are and what you're good at, and then follow that.
I mean, you both come from a long line, as I do, it's in your blood, right?
Yeah, it's in our
to be, yeah. And so what are some of your little advice that you could give out there?
My father was very honest with everything, and he was a true artist in the sense of he never hired a publicist. He didn't believe in that stuff. He believed in the work. And he has his career spanned for 40 years or more, and he's done probably about over 100 films, as well as thousands of TV shows and plays that he's written and directed and acted in Broadway, off Broadway, all of that. So what he did in his spare time, he took over the Beverly Hills Playhouse along with Milton Katselas. He worked side by side with him and ran it. And he taught about 100 students twice a week. And then when that ran out for him, he started his own playhouse, his own acting with another 100 students that he underwrote it himself. So he didn't believe in charging an actor for classes. So he made sure that you either had two things, your tuition was one of two things. It was either you had to write something that you performed in front of the class, or you had to bake something or cook something for the class, or perform a song, something that you shared and gave to them, and that was your tuition for your classes. And he was very dedicated to it, and he did it for over 10 years, that he underwrote the entire thing. Not one time did he charge an actor. He didn't believe in that. So it's that giving back. And as an actor that's done that much work, he also studied himself twice a week. So not only was he working, he was honing his craft. And that's kind of what is in my blood. You're never too good not to learn something more and not to get better. And that's what a lot of people don't know. They just ride on the laurel of, well, I'm pretty, I'm good looking, I can hit my mark. That's not enough. And anything, if old Hollywood taught us anything at all, it's a preparation for everything, even how to pose, how to sit, how to speak. Elocution is important. All of these things that we take for granted. You don't chew gum, and you see it all the time. And then, you've got your pigeon-toed. You don't know how to walk in heels. And that's the whole reason that you were taught these things.
Yeah.
And you can see it. People are lazy.
Manners and bedside manners. And
all of these things.
Yeah,
and please
etiquette.
And thank you and etiquette.
Thank you. Back to the kindness, back to the gratefulness.
Yeah, but also for back to the preparation. That's what grants the opportunity. Period.
Be humble. Get your hands dirty.
Yeah, and anything that you do.
Anything you can do. I love that. Woo! You guys.
That's my recipe for today.
Your recipe for the day.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Okay, so what are you guys working on next? There's got to be something you're doing and cooking up. What are you baking?
We started a little. The baking is not my forte. I'm telling you. I can cook a mean dish, but my cakes are a little wobbly. But we started adding something to our podcast, which we now do 2 peas in a podcast.
A segment.
So we do a small little segment of 5 minutes that I teach you 5-minute recipes, because now that we're coming out of this pandemic and everybody was learning to cook or wanting to cook at home and shop and now we want to get out of the house. So I'm teaching you how to do things so you can get out of the house and get back to life, but still make a quick lunch in 5 minutes, make a quick dinner in 5 minutes, throw an impromptu dinner party. Make things ahead so you can have people over, so you don't have excuses why I can't have anybody over.
So I'm the one that can't cook, and he teaches me, and then
he eats it, and that's usually his lunch.
2 peas in a pod. I love it. These
2
are
peas in a
great names, you
podcast.
guys.
2 peas in a podcast.
I love it.
Yeah, so we have a lot of free time.
Okay, we're gonna be back.
With something very special. We're going to hero up. What's that? Oh my goodness. Welcome back to Shine. I'm your host, Christina Fulton, and I have been sitting here with the lovely Joey Santos and Alan Nevins. Thank you so much, you two. You've been wonderful.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to be here.
Shining a bright light on the things that you do, which will turn around and help so many people in the world find their place in the world. So appreciate that. Woo! Yes. Okay, so every show, we have the little segment called Hero Up. Woo! What's gonna happen? So here it comes. See, it just flies in. I want you both to grab this together, okay? I want you to look in the camera. And I want you to tell the world out there, your community, the world, what would you do individually if you had a superpower? What would you do with it?
Ooh. A superpower. I don't know. I'd like to see the world cleaned up a little. I'd like to see when the water was clear again. When I was a child, I remember going to Manhattan Beach, and you could dive in the water and you could see people swimming around 20, 30 feet away. Now I wouldn't even go in the water. But I'd like to see, I think there's a lot of pollution and a lot of, and from graffiti on down, I would just like to sort of a nice, clean,
I've never heard anyone
top
say
to
that
bottom.
before. I like that. I really like that.
What does that make me, like Eco Man or something?
Yeah, you go, man. Clean, man. Mr. Clean. You're Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean. Joey.
It's such a huge responsibility. I don't think I can answer it so simply. A superpower takes a lot of, you got to get to know what the powers are. You've got to learn your powers. And I think we're all capable of a superpower. I don't think it requires a cape, or a speeding bullet or.
Have this thing.
Just my
No, you have it.
And I don't think it requires a cape, and I don't think it requires that fantasy. I think it requires really searching ourselves within, and that's the strongest superpower. If we can get to know who we are, then I think we can bring it forward. And by that example is what's going to inspire and aspire. So if I had a superpower, I would probably be the quietest superhero you'd ever meet, because I would have a lot of responsibility. Yeah.
I like that. Okay, that's beautiful. Well, you have given back, both of you, so much in the world. So again, I think over the COVID, you fed the homeless.
I did. I brought to the nurses, I brought 50 meals over to the hospital and brought them lunch, made it for lunch for everybody, and I packaged them all safely and, did that whole thing just so everybody could feel comfortable and good. And I did all sorts of meals so everybody had something. So I made vegan, I made vegetarian, I made regular things, and plus desserts, and I brought a whole, whole.
You have a big heart.
Incoming call.
That's God. Wait, I think that's the superpower. Yeah, that's God. He's calling you. He's telling you thank you. You have a big heart. You have a big heart, and I appreciate what you're doing in the world and what you will continue doing in the world and having great conversations on your show. Let's make you #1 in America.
Well, we're trying. We're trying. Subscribe, share, and comment, please.
Yes.
Tell us we're doing okay or not.
You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. It's not easy doing a show.
It's a whole different medium, and we're not exactly 18. Well, Alan's
You
not.
are in your heart.
No, but in your spirit, that doesn't age.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
but you have to stay current with things and find out things, and hopefully people are interested in some of the experiences that we have, not being 18, as we're very interested in people that are.
Exactly. It all works.
We learn from each other, so
We need each other. All of
yeah,
us.
let's have fun in the process.
We had a really great friend together.
Yes.
So I want to dedicate this show in memory of Kai Nova. He passed away last year.
Yeah.
And was a bright, shining light.
Yeah, he
and he went through depression. All of America has gone through their own little bit of depression. So I really wanted to, dedicate this to him and his family.
I heard it, and he was a joy to know. And yeah, I think of him fondly often. So hopefully he's no longer depressed. Hopefully he's found his happiness and.
You will love him.
Yeah,
he was
that's a great-
amazing.
great guy. Very
He
talented.
he took care of me when I was in a car crash.
Yes, I recall that.
And I had 3 neck screws and my shoulder, I was out to here. I remember we went to a party at your house and I had gained all this weight for myself, for me.
It was all in the boobs.
On the boobs. and I asked him, I said,
Thank you.
I said to him, have I got fat? And he's like, no. I'm like, yes, I did, didn't I? He's like, no, it looks good. It looks good. But, he was there for me. And so I really like to dedicate this to him
absolutely.
in memory of such an important young man, 22 years old. So, bless. And that happened a lot through COVID. We had a lot of really hard times for people. So.
Well, it's not, I liken it to, and I'll make it brief, but we were all on the same beach at the same time and the wave hit us all and it took us all out. But how many of us get to come back? So it's really important how we emerge, not how we got swept off.
Right.
And so we have to remember that. We have a huge responsibility now that we've made it through and we have a light at the end of the tunnel. So get vaccinated, stop the and get vaccinated.
True, yeah, okay. Okay.
So figure it out and get it done.
Well, I told people you can either implode or explode. How are you going to use your time? How are you going to pivot your life? And you guys did it.
Yeah, we
2
did
guys
it.
from Hollywood.
Sure did.
Phenomenal. Woohoo! Keep going. Well, thank you for today.
Thank you.
And I hope I get to see you soon.
Yes, me too.
And have a bright, shiny day and a happy Friday. Woohoo! Thank you. Okay, we will be back next week with influencer Marlon Ramsey Chan.